There's something people rarely talk about when someone very old looks you in the eye and tells you the truth. Not the truth they read somewhere, not the truth they learned in school, the kind of truth that only comes from watching people for a very long time. I've known a few people like that in my life, not many, but a few. There was a woman in the town where I grew up. Her name was Ruth. And well, Ruth was old when I was young, which means Ruth was something close to ancient by the time I was a grown man. She lived alone in a small house at the end of a dirt road. Nobody paid much attention to Ruth. The young people thought she was a relic, the kind of person you wave to, but don't really stop for. I stopped for her once. I was maybe 22 years old. My car had overheated not far from her house, and she was sitting on her porch, just watching me struggle with the hood. She called out, not loudly, almost casually. She said, "There's water in the well out back if you need it." I walked over. I thanked her. She handed me a glass of something cold. I don't remember what it was. And then she said something I didn't understand for another 40 years. She said, "Most people are too busy dying to notice they're alive." I smiled and nodded, the way young people do when they don't want to admit they didn't understand something. I fixed my car and drove away, but I thought about that woman for decades. Ruth lived to be 94, which in that small town was remarkable, because almost nobody lived that long. Not the doctors, not the businessmen, not the people who seemed to have everything figured out. After she passed, her granddaughter told me something that stayed with me. She said Ruth had never once, in her entire life, been particularly worried about her health. She didn't obsess over it. She didn't avoid things out of fear. She just lived close to what was real. She ate what the earth provided. Simple food. Food with no labels on it. Food that her own mother had taught her to prepare. She moved her body every single day. Not because she was trying to extend her life, but because she enjoyed moving. She sat in the sun, she kept a garden, she fermented things. She ate eggs and didn't think twice about it. She drank her coffee black and called it the morning conversation with God. But here's what I've come to believe, and I want you to really hear this. None of that. Not the food, not the coffee, not the garden. None of it was the actual reason Ruth lived so long. The food was the fuel, but it wasn't the engine. The engine was something harder to name. Ruth had very few regrets. I think that's the closest I can get to it. She hadn't spent her life pretending to be someone she wasn't. She hadn't chased things that never made her happy. She hadn't held on to bitterness the way some people hold on to money, like it's worth something, like it's protecting them. I've watched a lot of people age over the years, and I've noticed something. The ones who carry resentment carry it in their bodies. You can see it in the way they hold their shoulders, in the tightness around their mouths, in the way they talk about the past, like the past is still happening to them. Ruth didn't do that. Someone wronged her once. I won't go into the details, but it was serious. The kind of thing most people don't forget. The kind of thing families split over. A neighbor asked her about it years later, asked if she still thought about it. Ruth was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "I put it down a long time ago. It was too heavy to carry all the way here." That right there. That's what gave her 94 years. Not the eggs, not the berries. The willingness to put heavy things down. Now, I'm not saying the food doesn't matter. It does. What you eat, how you move, whether you go outside and let the sun touch your face, these things matter. They matter more than most people admit. We've been told so many things over the years, told to avoid this, told to be afraid of that. And meanwhile, the people doing the telling lived ordinary lives, got ordinary diseases, died at ordinary ages. Ruth's mother ate sardines out of a can, called it poor man's food. Ruth called it fuel. Her gut was strong. Her mind was clear. Her blood was clean. And every single doctor who told her grandmother to watch her fat was gone before Ruth turned 70. There's a lesson in that, even if I'm not entirely sure what the lesson is. Maybe it's that the body knows things that the textbooks don't. Maybe it's that food passed down through generations carries something in it that no pill can replicate. The knowledge of what actually works, tested over centuries, not years. But I keep coming back to the spirit. Ruth had a reason to get up every morning. She had people she loved, people who needed her, a neighbor whose groceries she helped carry, a grandchild she was teaching to bake, a garden that needed tending. That is what kept her engine running. I think about the people I've known who left early, and by early I mean 50, 60, 70. People who seemed healthy on the outside, but were hollow on the inside. They'd lost their reason, somewhere along the way, in the busyness of life, in the chasing and the losing and the pretending. They'd forgotten why they were here. And once you forget that, the body starts to agree with you. Ruth never forgot, even at 94. She still had things she wanted to see, things she wanted to finish, people she was still curious about. The morning she died, her granddaughter said she'd asked about the weather. She'd wanted to know if it was going to be a good day for the garden. It was. She fell asleep in her chair after breakfast, peacefully, like someone who had done what they came to do and was simply ready. I don't know if I'll go that way. Most of us don't get to choose. But I think about Ruth when I sit on my own porch in the mornings. I think about what she understood, that so many of us spend our whole lives trying to figure out, that the body follows the spirit, not the other way around. Feed the spirit. Forgive the people who hurt you. Find a reason to be curious about tomorrow. Sit in the sun. Eat what the earth gave you. Put down the heavy things. And then, just see how long you last. I've been watching people for 78 years now, and the ones who live the longest aren't always the ones who tried the hardest to live long. They're the ones who were too busy being alive to think much about dying. Ruth knew that. She knew it the way some people just know things. Not from books, not from doctors, from watching, from living close to the ground, from paying attention. I think the question worth sitting with, the one I can't quite shake, is not how long you'll live, but whether, when it's over, you'll be able to say you put the heavy things down early enough to actually enjoy the walk.